What if I told you that the decisions you make now and the way you manage your money now as an 18-year-old, 20-year-old, 25-year-old can have a great impact on how much money you have and how you are living your life in your 50s or 60s. The decisions you make today may seem trivial. Retirement may seem really far away. And some of you may be thinking, what if I don't even live that long? What if I don't make it to retirement? But what if you do? What if you do make it to 60 years old? Do you want to be living it financially free, stress-free about money, traveling the world, not having to live paycheck to paycheck? Or do you want to take that risk now and live a much harder life in the future? So these are the top 3 things I did when I turned 18 with my finances to make sure that I'm setting myself up for a good and successful future. Now, before I carry on with the video, I do want to clarify that I am not giving you financial advice. This video is not financial advice or recommendations. I am purely going to be telling you what I did with my money when I turned 18, and I'll be giving you certain tools that you could potentially research into and decide whether you want to use yourself. So the first thing I did was open a stocks and shares ISA. A stocks and shares ISA is basically the cheat code to getting rich in the UK. On the other hand, if you are in the USA, you could open a Roth IRA. So what are these two accounts? In both a Roth IRA and in a stocks and shares ISA, your savings and investments are growing tax-free. You can deposit up to £20,000 a year in a stocks and shares ISA, and in a Roth IRA, you can have a maximum of $7,000 a year. In the UK, you usually have to pay tax on capital gains above £3,000 and on any dividends above £500. So that's why it is important that you keep under a tax wrapper like an ISA or a Roth IRA. It doesn't matter how much you start with. You can start with monthly payments into your ISA account of £100, £50, or even £20. Anything is better than nothing. With a stocks and shares ISA and a Roth IRA, time is on your side. This is because of something called compound interest. Compound interest means you earn interest or returns not just on the money you originally invest, but also on the profits your investment makes over time. So your money starts earning interest on the interest you've already made, creating a snowball effect, and the longer you leave it invested, the faster it grows. For example, here's a graph showing you how much money you would have after 20 years just investing £100 a month into a stocks and shares ISA with 8% returns per year. So here are some key warnings before you start to invest into a stocks and shares ISA. First of all, make sure that you build an emergency fund. Make sure that you have paid off all your consumer debt, and make sure that you have a plan of what you want to actually do with this money and what you want to achieve with this money in the long term. For example, if I needed that amount of money in 2 to 3 years, I would leave it in a high yield savings account instead to avoid market volatility and guarantee that my money actually grows in value and is not subject to any sudden fluctuations. Whereas if my plan was to invest for the long term, I wouldn't worry too much about fluctuations because over time, pound cost averaging would occur. Pound cost averaging is when you invest a fixed amount of money regularly, regardless of whether the market is going up or down. This means you naturally buy more units when prices are low and fewer when prices are high. Over time, this helps smooth out the ups and downs of the market and can reduce the impact of the volatility within the market. Markets that you could consider investing into are low-cost broad market index funds like global index funds, or if you'd like to invest into the USA, then you could think about investing into an S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies in the USA, or FTSE 100, which is the top 100 in the UK. When investing over the long term, on average, you can see 8% returns per annum. Remember that if you are investing for the long term, do not be scared and do not fear sudden fluctuations within the market. Just don't touch your money and leave it how it is. The stocks and shares ISA app that I personally use is Trading 212. I find it really user and beginner friendly. So if you would like to try Trading 212, I have a link in the description in my bio for you to try it out. The second thing I did when I turned 18 was open a lifetime ISA. A lifetime ISA is a type of savings account which is designed to help you buy your first home or save for retirement when you are 60 years old. It can be opened between the ages of 18 and 39 years old, and you can put up to £4,000 in there per tax year and receive 25% from the government on top of that every tax year. So if you put £4,000 in, which is the maximum amount, you'll be getting £1,000 for free from the government. You also receive a bonus every year until you turn 50. Now, there are a few warnings when it comes to a lifetime ISA. For example, it can only be used to buy your first home worth up to £450,000 after saving for at least 12 months, or keep it until you're 60 and then you can withdraw everything when you are 60 years old. If you take out any money for any other reason but those two, then you will be charged a 25% penalty fee and actually end up losing more money than what you put in the first place. And my last thing is never spend or waste your capital. Everything you earn, invest into assets. And what are assets? Assets can be tangible or intangible products such as property, gold or silver, stocks and shares, which allow you to make money from them over time and are likely to grow in value and not depreciate. Some investments can be very expensive, for example, property, but over time, when you grow your portfolio of assets and you have a larger number of assets, instead of spending your capital, you can use the money made from your assets, for example, dividends from stocks and shares, to pay for your expenses. Eventually, the more you grow your portfolio, you can allocate an asset to every single expense. For example, you can have one property which can help pay for your car, you can have one property which can help pay for clothing, but obviously this is when your pot becomes much bigger. For now, just make sure that you are not wasting your capital. So stop letting your money sit in a low yield savings account or just in your current account, because you are losing money by doing that. This is due to something called inflation. Inflation is when the goods of price and services increase over time. And whilst the price of these goods and services increase, the value of money decreases. This means that you are going to need more money over time to buy the same products. So a loaf of bread might have cost 80p in the 2000s, but now in 2025, it may cost £1.50. So you are going to need more money than you had in the 2000s to buy the same loaf of bread 25 years later. So when you leave your money just sitting in your current account or sitting in a low yield savings account, you are losing money. Just because you don't see it with your eyes doesn't mean it's not happening. So make sure that every pound, every pence that you earn and that you have, you are making it work for you. Use it as a tool within itself, making sure that you are controlling it, and make sure that the money is not controlling you. You have the power to choose what you do with your money. And if you make the right decisions today, when you are young, when you are 18, when you are 20, you can even be 15 watching this video and still make an effort to try find a high yield savings account to put your savings in. Because your future self will thank you. Your future self will be so grateful. And every time you think to yourself, what if I don't even live that long to benefit from these investments that I've made? Tell yourself, what if I do? What if I do make it to that age? And if you think about it, just £20, £50 a month isn't even that much. Instead of buying that expensive piece of clothing or makeup or pair of shoes, think to yourself, do I really need this right now? Is it going to bring me more money in the future? And could I take the money that I'm going to spend on this product, put it into my investments and make more money from that money? The answer is always going to be yes. So just try and minimize your spendings as much as possible. And instead of developing a savings mindset, try to develop an investment mindset. Always remember that money in itself can actually make you more money if you invest it in the right way. So those are my top 3 things I did with my finances when I turned 18. Remember, I am not giving you any financial recommendations. Your capital is at risk. Any decisions you make sure that you are in the right position to do so, because there is always going to be a chance that you may lose money. So make sure you do your research and that you have a plan of what you are going to use that money for in the future. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. If you'd like any more videos about finances, investments, I'd be happy to make more. Just put it down in the comments down below. And yeah, I hope you have a good day. Bye.